So the last thing we reached, or we did, is programming lid one again, the red lid on your kit using the bitwise operations or safe coding. Okay. And again, I will just highlight the code very quick. So we have first is initialization, in which we set the bin as GPIO. Then we set its direction to output, so we can send the signal through it. And we put some initial value. You can choose one. You can choose 1 or 0. That's fine. But this is using safe coding. Okay. Then we did the toggling in the while loop. We're gonna do that today in a simpler way, because here we are axing. Whenever you want to do something, on your microcontroller, you should configure some registers. Okay. So here we are doing what's called direct access or direct register access. Okay. We're gonna do that the same today. Access also to the registers, which we need all the time to configure our microcontroller, but using what's called Driverlib. This, strange stuff that we always see, but we don't know its meaning. Okay, at the beginning of our program, include Driverlib. So this kind of access is called direct register access. Okay, or direct register access for your microcontroller, just like this. So you target some bin and you change its value. Of course, this way, although you have full control, but it's it makes your program lengthy, long. Also, if you have many registers, now we are dealing with one. No. So, for example, in that program here, we are dealing with how many registers? 1, 2, 3, 4 registers for just blinking of a lid. So just imagine now if you have many registers, and for each one of these registers you may also want to set up or change many bits, not just one bit. So for example, if you want to play with 8 registers, and each register you will play with 2 bits, you may have 16 lines of code. Okay, so it might also be tedious, but above all, it's makes your program less readable or less understandable. Okay, the programmer or someone that is really experienced with microcontroller programming will understand it, or at least know the data sheet. But using the Driverlib, as we will see in a moment, just by reading the line of the code, you will know exactly what this line is doing. Okay, you can't here look at this line and tell that we are configuring some bit as a GPIO from this line, which is B1 cell 0 whatever, and B line cell 1 whatever. Yeah, this line is doing that. This line will configure B1.0 as a GPIO bin, but this is not. You should read the data sheet and the technical reference manual of the microcontroller to understand this, to know that if you set bit 0 in cell 0 register and bit 0 in cell 1 register, you are configuring B1.0 as a GPIO. But in that, with Driverlib, as we will see now, just when you just read the line, you will know that. So let's see that. Let's see an example in here. So basically, first, this is the Driverlib. This is a user guide that I shared with you in our first lab 1. Okay. As I said, it makes your function readable and understandable. Somebody is talking to me, or just a noise?
I think Jose is near his mic.
Okay. So Jose, please mute your mic. Oh,
sorry.
That's just, yeah, thank you. So what is really the Driverlib library? It's just the functions, okay? And each function will encapsulate many steps that we are doing with just accessing directly the register. Let's see this. Let's see the example, which is the program that you should implement today. Okay, so what we want from the initialization, we need from again the same program, lead one blinking. We need from the initialization to set up B10 as an output bin, and to do that, you should first set it as a GPIO using these two lines, and set it as output using this line. Here is our history here. You know, all this is the previous program that we take. In the beginning, we use it using unsafe coding because we were accessing all the bits at the same time. Then we do that using safe coding. Again, for the direction, using unsafe coding and then safe coding for bitwise operation. Now using Driverlib, it's very simple. You know, map, this is just a keyword. I don't know really what's really doing, but the original line of code is this one without a map. GPIO set as output bin. Look, very easy. Now you know that you will set some bin as output. Okay, what is this bin and in which port? It's in port 1 and it's bin 0. Look how easy it is. So this one line of code, you know, it's actually 3 lines if you have a direct register access. So you need 2 lines to set cell 0 and cell 1, and another line to set the direction register as output. So this line is equivalent to these 2 lines plus this one line. So 3 lines. Okay. Now we wanna initialize it with some value, 0 or 1, whatever. That's very simple as well. So map, just forget about this keyword map. Okay, start from here, GPIO. GPIO set output low on bin. It's very simple, you know, set low output, you know, 0 on bin. What is this bin? In which port? It's in port 1, bin 0. Very simple. Okay. You wanna now toggling inside the while loop. This is how we do the toggling in before. Here using the unsafe coding, we can say because we change all the bits or we toggle all the bits. Okay, but here, I'm sorry, we are here toggling 1 bit, still 1 bit. Yeah. For OR, it's not that, you know, it's not that different. And here is using the bitwise for XOR, I'm sorry. And here is using bitwise XOR. Okay, but again, if you read this line of code, you don't know what is actually B1 out will do. You should read the manual to understand this line of code. But without reading the manual, you can just from this line here, GPIO toggle output on bin, toggle output on what bin? It's bin 0 on port 1. Then you know what exactly is doing, or what exactly will happen behind the scene from this line. Okay, if we go deep in this, first, anyone has a question? Is this clear?
To set like a pin as input, we just put with a capital I, right? Like capital I for input and then pin.
Yeah, yes. Okay, so you don't need to actually memorize everything. So you have here the driver. So let's go to Driverlib. The user, you always check the user guide in the beginning. So let's do that. So open. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
So, okay, where is GPIO? Just search for GPIO. And this should give you what you should do. Yeah, okay. Here, this chapter here will encapsulate all what you need for GPIO. Okay, how to use the Driverlib functions to, you know, setting output and input and stuff. So this is just an example, just as like the ones that I did. Now we need the input one, right? So let's see. So yeah, here all the GPIO driverlib functions. Okay, so let's see what you want. Set as input bin. You see it? GPIO set as input bin. Clear?
Oh, okay.
And we can go there. You know, here is. Don't worry about what's written in here. Okay. So let me. So this is clear now, right? I will go deep now in how to explain what's happening really when you write this.
Okay.
Professor, are you able
Yes.
to email us or post it on Canvas, the Driverlib user manual?
It's already posted before.
Oh, it's already posted?
Lab 1. When I posted Lab 1.
Okay, thanks, Professor.
Okay. But I will do that. That's fine now. So let's, for example, now we want to set an input bin. What you're gonna do? So you go here to user driverlib user guide. Okay, here is the lines that I want, but I don't know what is really what I should do. So you should write this in your code. GPIO set input as input bin. But what I should write between the two parentheses, those guys, this guy and this guy. Okay, we should write this one. Select board and select bins, and just forget about this, you know, complicated stuff, you know, unsigned integer fast whatever. Okay, so let's go deep in here. Yeah, so select board. So here it explains to you what you should write exactly here and here. So for select board, what you should write? You should write a board name. Okay. So this is the name of port 1. So B1, which is port 1, we write it in that, you know, in that way. This is the name of port 2. So if you wanna set up some bins on port 2, you should do that. And until port J, which I don't really have any idea about it, but anyways, okay, these are all the ports. Because this driverlib manual is actually for many not just one microcontroller, which is ours. So maybe for other microcontrollers there is a port called BJ, maybe, but for ours I don't think we have this guy. Now, what I should write in the other, you know, in the second argument here. So you go down, selected bin. Then if you want bin 0, you would write this. If you want bin 1, you write this until bin 15. Of course, in our case, we only have from bin 0 to bin 7. Just 8 bins, because any port we have here is only 8 bits. But maybe for other microcontroller, which, you know, again, this user guide is for many microcontrollers, not just one of them. So for other micro, you may have 16 bits. Okay. So what's really happening when you write this line of code? Okay, the compiler, which compiles your program, will replace this one. Okay. You can say so. You replace it. It replaces. No. Let us be more precise. So yeah, this is actually a function. Okay, this is a function. So just like if you have a function in your code, and when the compiler reaches this line that calls the function, it will go to the function to do something, right? So this is just like a function. And this function actually has, you know, as a body, you can imagine a code like this. Okay. But this is the body will be determined based on the inputs that you are sending. If it's port 1, if it's, and what, I'm sorry, the port, and also the bin 0 or bin 1 or bin 2 until bin 7. Okay, so this is just like a function. You can imagine it simply. You can imagine it like this. That the compiler will just remove this line and put this line, for example, instead. Okay, you can imagine it like this. But if you go deep, it's a function, and the compiler will deals with it in a very simple way, just like the handling any other function. So when it reaches it, it goes there, do something. This something, of course, is this in that case here, is this that stuff, that line, and go back and continue, compilation. Again, for this one here, it's just like a function. When the compiler reaches this line, it will go somewhere. What it actually do is in that place, it will do these 3 steps. It will do these two steps and this step as well. Okay. So that's actually, same stuff, exactly the same. We are not creating something new, but in a very readable format, we can say. Any questions?
I just have one quick question. For the GPIO pin 0, can we put like GPIO pin 1, pin 2 on the same line of code?
Good. That's very nice. So that's very good question. So for lit 2, you have 2 pins, right? And you are sending 2 bits at the same time. Okay, that's right. That's your question, right? So in that case, what you're gonna do something like this. So I don't want to do. Okay, let's do it here. So let's say imagine that you wanna set at the same time, pin 0 and pin 3 as output. Okay, so you do this. You see, with this bar sign. So now the compiler will say, the microcontroller, whatever, pin 0 and the pin 1, pin 3, both will be set as output, GPIO output pins. And when you do this, you are sending 0 to both pin 0 and pin 3 at the same time.
Professor,
You got it?
it's only pin 0 and pin 3, not pin 0 through pin 3?
No, pin 0
Okay.
and pin 3.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. That's the way. That's very good question. Thank you, John. But I in some time I was about to explain it at the end, because you will need this in your homework. Okay, because your homework again is this program, which is for lit 2. Okay, and the lit 2 you have 2 pins. I don't 0 and 1, right? Or what exactly?
0, 1, and 2.
Yeah, 3 pins. 3 pins. Yes, I'm sorry. 3 pins. Yeah, 3 pins. Pin 0, pin 1, and pin 2. So you add also. So let's do that. Another one here. Pin 0, 1, 2. You will have something like this. Okay. But of course, now in the toggling, or of course you don't have toggling in your code, so you will do that. I'm sorry. You will do 3 times. So you will have this line here, but with 1 bit, one of the bits, one of the bins, or bits, of course. Yeah. And you will do that 3 times. Okay, or it should be simple. Okay. So let's go back to our original code. So that's the way that's your question actually. And again, by the way, this is also mentioned in the user guide. So let's see it there. I'm not anticipating, for example, that it should be something like or. No, I also get it from the Driverlib. So if we go to the Driverlib, I think it's mentioned somewhere. Yeah, look. So it is slide bin. Yeah, mask value is the logical or any of the following. Yeah, so it's not that clear, but here is logical or. this is that what should be interpreted as if you wanna make some bins together, like for example bin 0 and 1 and 2, then using this logical OR, which is the bar. Okay, if you have many bins at the same time, that would be set to 1 or 0.
Professor, do
Yes,
you know what
Christopher.
would happen if it's a logical AND instead?
Logical AND?
Yeah.
That's the problem with Driverlib. So Driverlib, be careful when we use it. This is, by the way, not my concern. This is actually the Texas Instrument concern. So sometimes it behaves weirdly. So you might have AND instead of OR, and it goes correct, or goes unpredictable. It do something, So at that time you will see that there is something wrong. The LEDs are not, for example, are not performing the way you did, but there is a compilation. The compilation runs successfully. So in that situation it's harder, although it's a very small errors that you did, like for example using AND instead of OR. So that's actually the problem that I'm saying to you, that you should use Driverlib in a very careful carefully, or in a very careful manner, because of these small errors. But you may get some error compilation, you may not get anything.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys. So let's compile this. This is my code here, and let me, yeah, it's actually running already. So I just changed the delay. I make it smaller so that it's blinking very fast, like what you see. Okay, so guys, do that, and we have again an assignment, just like small assignment, or that I will pass through every one of you to check if he could do it or not. Should we just start, please?
My internet cut off and it made me like leave the meeting for some reason. I kind of missed a little bit of it, like 5 minutes of lecture. What was the assignment?
The assignment is to do this stuff, but for LED 2. I actually published it on Canvas.
Oh, okay.
So blank LED 2. I'm not blank LED 2. So have the colors, but use logical. Use Driverlib. So don't use such stuff. Use such stuff.